So skating is obviously all about learning tricks, but the truth is, the way that most skaters try and learn actually slows down progression and learning and can keep them stuck at that same level, just being unable to figure out certain tricks, or maybe figuring out one trick the one day and then the next day just completely losing it. We all know that situation, the worst feeling ever, but no worries, my friend, because there are solutions. And in this video taken from the skate performance workshop that I did, I'm going to be going over why this happens, along with dropping some ways that you can instantly hack your body and environment to help you speed up learning and lock in more tricks even faster. If we can literally change our brains and get better at anything, if we put in effort, why is it then that sometimes you just seem like you're not getting better? How can you try nollie flips for like 10 years and just not seem to improve? Well, there are some key ingredients to learning that you've probably just not been implementing that you really need to if you're going to want to learn effectively. So get your little aprons out, boys and girls. Here is the perfect recipe for learning. You need the right amount of focus, physiological hypeness, repetition and failure, and deep rest. So let's break down each one of these now. Imagine a session where you were like super anxious, where you got all in your head and were flooded with negative emotions. How did you skate in that session? No doubt, you skated like shit. Now imagine a session where you were just super tired, real lazy, and with no energy. How did that session go as well? Unless the hype started to rise at some point, probably didn't go too well either. It's also these kinds of sessions where you're most likely to get injured. Now think of some sessions where you skated well, you probably were somewhere in between, like not excessively hyped, but not overly relaxed either. You would have been in that sweet spot of physiological hypeness, if you will. So just to clarify from now on, like when I use the word hype, I'm using it to refer to like any kind of heightened physiological state that could be like stress, anxiety, could be like excitedness. Is that a word? Excitedness? Energized. Basically any state where you're kind of getting up there and getting to the point of like, rah, or progressively going towards that rah state. When it comes down to learning new tricks and locking new ones in, the ideal hyped state is to be somewhere in between. We don't want to be freaking the fuck out, but we don't want to be in pure zen mode either. So why is that? Well, not only because you're literally going to be able to skate better in that middle state, but an essential piece is that to learn something new, you need to be focused on what you're doing. This doesn't mean like visually focused. You could be paying attention to like your board feel, what's going on with your feet, how your body's moving, etc. But you basically just need to be focused. If you're too chill or you're too anxious, too physiologically hyped, you're going to struggle to focus. You know, when you're chilled, maybe you'll be thinking about what's for dinner. Maybe you'll be thinking about that strange pigeon that you saw on the way to the skate park. You're going to be thinking of things that aren't related. But if you're on the other end of the spectrum, like you're too excited, too stressed, you're going to be distracted by your excitement as well. And you'll probably end up focusing on like what people think of your skating, or maybe the fact that you might get hurt. Okay, so as we all know, there are physical and emotional changes in our body depending on how we feel. When you're relaxed, your heart rate will be lower, your breathing will be slower, you'll feel less tension, less energy, you won't be so alert, you won't be focusing so sharply, and you'll be feeling more passive emotions. But as we go up that hype scale, everything will increase. So our heart rate is going to go up, our breathing is going to go up, we're going to feel more tension, we'll be more alert and focused, and as you hit that peak, you're going to be like wired as fuck. Either you'll be feeling positive emotions like extreme excitement, or negative ones like extreme anxiety or fear. So where you are on that scale and where your hypeness is influenced by everything that's going on inside, but also outside of you. And it's largely automatic, but there are certain things that we can do to influence it and bring us into that optimal level of hypeness so we can learn and skate better. So as weird as this might sound, like the core of hitting that optimal state is really that you need to feel safe. Sounds strange, right? But if you don't, you're going to be in a defensive state. And as your body's number one job is to keep you alive, the last thing it's going to care about is your little maneuver on your little wooden toy. It's just not going to give a shit. That is not relevant to your survival. You'll feel more negative emotions like anxiety, fear, and not only will you be in a worse state to learn, you'll actually close yourself off to try new things. So this doesn't have to mean feeling actually physically safe, as in like, is that weird guy at the skate park going to rugby tackle me right now as I go to pop my trick? But it can also mean like, is your ego safe? Seems like we're getting a little esoteric here, but we're actually not. Like, this does actually make sense when you think about it. For example, for me personally, for a long time, I would struggle to skate in different environments with really good skaters, and I'd get all nervous because I'd be thinking about whether or not I was skating good enough. I had this perceived level I had to skate at, and even if no one gave a shit about like how I was skating, I thought they did, and my sense of self was threatened in that situation. Not my physical safety, but my sense of who I was and my beliefs were being threatened, even if it was just me threatening them. So instead of being inspired by these better better skaters and trying to learn from them and having like a growth mindset, I was stuck in this fixed mindset of like, oh, they're good, I'm not, and I would like close myself off. So your environment can have a massive impact on your ability to regulate your level of hype. And you can kind of see that in this graph right here, right? At the top, your performance, it gets better as you go up that hype level. But then as you get too hyped, like I was talking about before, that performance is going to drop. But then when you're in a threatening environment, even if you're getting to that, what would be optimal level of hype if you were feeling comfortable and safe, because it's a threatening environment, performance is going to pretty much drop from the get-go. So yeah, if you want to focus on learning, you need to make sure you're in an environment where you're able to feel comfortable and relaxed. At least in the beginning when you're locking a trick in, and then like after that you can put yourself in less like safe environments or ones that feel threatening to you, because that can actually help you lock in the trick further, but only once you've got it locked in. So once we've ticked off the block of feeling safe, we want to make sure we're not overly hyped. So we know that when we're more chilled, we breathe slower, our muscles are less tense, our heart rate's slower, and we can actually trick our bodies and minds into thinking that they're relaxed just by doing what they would do when you are actually relaxed. Some things that you can do, for example, pay attention to where you hold tension when you're like too hyped and actively just try and relax those areas. For me, I notice like my shoulders, I go like, I just feel some tension there, so I'll actively focus on relaxing those spots. Breathing slower through the nose as well, so longer exhales through the nose. And this is a super interesting one that I learned from Andrew Huberman, skater and world famous neuroscientist. He's been on the 9 Club. Absolute boss, this guy. If you don't know him, go check him out. He talks a lot about this thing called the physiological sigh. Basically, it can trigger relaxation rapidly. So everyone, right now, we're going to do it together. Don't leave me doing this on my own because I'm going to feel strange. So what it is an inhale through the nose. And once you're pretty much fully inhaled, you're then going to do a second little sharp inhale through the nose, and then you'll fully exhale through the mouth. So it's going to be in through the nose, and then out through the mouth. And if you do that like twice, you'll notice a pretty solid increase in relaxation. So one other thing we know when we're like hyped up is that our vision's gonna narrow, and the opposite will happen when we're chilled. So we're gonna go into more like panoramic vision. And another super interesting thing that Huberman talks about is that if you like focus on your peripheral vision and kind of go into panoramic mode, you can actually reduce your hypeness and kind of trigger that relaxation state. So you can basically combine those different things that are on the screen right now. It seems like a lot, but it's not gonna take a lot at all. Just razz it until like your heart rate slows and you feel like a reduction in hypeness. Like if you start to notice like, all right, I'm getting too intense, I'm losing focus at the spot, you can do those tools to deactivate that hypeness. The other side is also true as well. If you're too relaxed and you need to increase that hypeness, you can just do the opposite. So maybe like a warm up with some high intensity movements. High intensity movements is key there. Maybe you could run around the skate park screaming. If you do, film it, tag me, thank you. You could also just do some fast inhales through the mouth. But also understand that sometimes your body needs to rest and like needs to relax. And if it's really, really chilled, like there's probably a good reason. It's probably asking for some recovery. All right, so now we're safe, focused, alert, and our brains are as fertile as a 9-month-old goat. I Googled this, and that is in fact the optimal age of conception for goats. Anyway, now comes the hard bit, right? So you actually have to skate and fail excessively, day in, day out. There's no shortcut. You've got to put in those 10,000 hours in that optimal learning state, ideally. If you do those things, you're going to be killing it. Remember though, failure is the trigger for your brain to learn. So try and free yourself from the need to land it in the moment. If it does happen, you're ready for it. If it doesn't, then you won't. And as long as you keep trying, then you're on the right path and you'll get there eventually. Right now though, I'm afraid you're just where you need to be, and like, there's nothing you can really do to change that. If you can learn to value the process of all this and like really value effort and failure and trying tricks, then life is just going to be so much easier. Because those wins, they're so unfrequent, right, in comparison to the amount of effort you put in. So imagine if instead of having to wait to feel good, you're like, all right, fucking just feel good putting in the effort. You know? So build that growth mindset and learn to love failure is the message right there. This is important because the more you stress about not landing a trick, the more the physiological hypeness is going to build, and the more likely you'll take yourself out of that optimal state. You can't force yourself to learn a trick. You almost have to let go to get it. And another really interesting thing I learned from Huberman is that when you hit that point of frustration, it's actually right after that your brain is kind of most ready to learn, because it's paying the most attention to what's going on. It's like really like, okay, shit, I need to sort something out. I need to really correct something that's going wrong here. So as you hit that state, acknowledge it and just make sure that your hypeness doesn't continue to increase, or like frustration continue to increase, by using those tactics I went over. And I think you're just going into like deep learning mode, and he recommends doing that for like up to 30 minutes, like a block up to 30 minutes. And I would say like just cut it off and stop when you're either like unable to maintain focus or when you just feel like you need a break. Sometimes you just know you should stop. Listen to those cues. And you can only learn so much at once as well, and this is especially true as you get older. Like when you're younger, you can pretty much just learn anything all day day long. But when you're older, you'll benefit from trying to learn fewer things, maybe a trick or fewer tricks on a day, and maybe just repeating that process like multiple times a day, giving yourself breaks in between. So you need to aim your efforts in the right place, but you also need to know when to call it a day. The good news is though that even if you didn't get that trick on that day, like the next time you won't be starting from that same point. Your brain will literally have changed. Remember those neural maps that we went over before? Your brain's literally going to have changed to make it easier the next time you try it. Crazy shit, right? Crazy shit. And finally, to lock in all those attempts and solidify those neural maps, you need to get some deep rest, aka sleep. So not only is sleep the boss of physical recovery, it's also the boss of learning, and if you don't sleep, if you don't sleep well, you're going to heavily inhibit your ability to learn and recover. You pretty much do anything in life. I have 1 night bad sleep and I'm a horrible person.
Alright, so that's it for this video, and if this is the first video that you've arrived at from the Skate Performance Workshop that I did, then you need to go check out the other 2 that have already dropped in this series. One covering all of the different areas that you need to consider if you want to actually progress as much as you can in skating, and another one dedicated specifically to mindset. So I'll put links for those down in the description below, maybe up on the screen, and stay tuned for the next video dropping next week, all about how you can overcome fear in skating. So there we go, mate. See you later.